going to talk briefly about the releases this week of the Ubuntu Unity, which is now in full release, following on from Ubuntu's LTS release a couple of weeks back. And there's a release candidate of Linux Lite 6, which is out now, ready for you to download and test. We love the release candidates for that distribution there, because Linux Lite has always been a great distribution to install on lower end laptops and PCs, of which I use there. Yeah, the bad echo should have hopefully gone. You guys still got the echo? Let me just, I heard the echo based on the fact that I had my headphones in the background there, so hopefully that's now disappeared, but let me know if the audio is still echoing there. But yeah, so let me just minimize my Spotify here. So I just want to talk to you briefly, first of all, about how I have set up Titan Linux. So out of the box, obviously this is a beautiful wallpaper, guys. You've done brilliant here. This is how it looks. I have made a few tweaks here or there, but nothing major. I've downloaded obviously all of the packages which I need to use for my daily use. So obviously that's my virtual machines, my Discord, the Spotify, Steam, and obviously another browser as well. Obviously I do use Firefox as my default browser, which coincidentally this week has reached its 100th release. So congratulations to the Firefox team there. But of course on Debian, you don't see that. You get the ESR release. So but someone pointed out on Twitter earlier this week that if you look at the release, look at the numbers in the release of the recent update to ESR, and yeah, they add up to 100. Isn't that a bit of a surprise? There we go. Right, so on to Titan. So out of the box, I will say the installation for myself here, I got it onto a USB and booted it up and installed it. It installed without any issues whatsoever, literally with just under 5 minutes. I probably would say 4 at a push, but I will say it took 5 minutes onto my SSD. And the only thing I had to really do was obviously install the NVIDIA drivers, which once I'd got the obviously the repository set up, it installed with no problems there at all. So like with any Linux distribution, I probably would recommend that you don't go for NVIDIA. It's a bit of a pain to install, especially on Debian. So if you're using Debian 11 on Bullseye there, then yeah, no doubt you're probably realizing the frustrations that you're getting with NVIDIA there. Oh, thanks, Matt, for confirming the echo's gone brilliantly. So that was from my headphones there. Right, so yeah, so obviously I installed NVIDIA and booted up, no problems at all. So let's talk about Titan. So Titan is a Debian-based distribution. It's using the latest Bullseye release of Debian 11. And I've compared this distribution alongside standard Debian. And, I'm pleased to say Titan comes out best in terms of stability and speed. The minute you boot it up on the machine, Titan is just there, quickly, just like that. It loads straight away. And then Debian, I'm still waiting for a few things to load up. One of the things which I am really enjoying with Titan is the fact that it has full snap and Flatpak support. So I will show you in the menus in a moment of where you can go to activate and get that up and running. So a lot of the good things about this Titan release is that the guys are doing a lot of hard work there to make it work so that it's easy for you to just, with one click of a mouse, get everything installed and up and running exactly how you would want this distribution to be working. Now, it's using KDE Plasma as its default desktop there. Who's not to say that we'll at some point see some spins where you can use XFCE, Mate, and a few others. But, I would say in terms of this KDE Plasma release, it's using the Debian one. So it's not going to be one of the latest in the 5.24 releases. But either way, it's using the current Debian KDE version. And there is literally nothing wrong with it. It is so stable. I've not known my machine to love a Linux distribution so much so than what I'm using right here, right now. So I currently have the terminal open here. You can see of my 8 gigabytes here, I'm currently using 5 gigs here. That's quite a lot, but given the fact that I've had this terminal up for a while now, so let me just clear this up and then I will just do a refresh. So the only thing that I've got running right now is OBS. So yeah, so I'm still using 5 gig. Okay, so I have a virtual machine that's open. So I can demonstrate Linux Lite to you in a short while. But we've also got Spotify open and mostly OBS. So a lot of that is taking up my system resources there. But I am not seeing any performance issues whatsoever. So as soon as I stop streaming, my memory will dip right back down again to idle at just over a gig. The standard KDE is about 1.2 gigs I normally get from a KDE desktop. But I booted this up yesterday morning. Loaded up a terminal, and this NeoFetch screen here showed me that I was just shy of 800 megabytes running as idle with nothing running, which surprised me in the very least, which is a very happy bunny there. So in terms of the out-of-the-box applications, so you get your application launcher here. I'd just like to point out, first of all, I'm demonstrating this on a 4K monitor. So I'm not looking at it as 1920 by 1080. So what you're seeing now on this stream here is me demonstrating it to you at a resolution which has been improved as scaling up to 150%. But I will just say though, in terms of fractional scaling, I had no issues whatsoever in getting this distribution up and running on my 4K screen and changing the size of a few fonts here or there. And it now looks exactly like a desktop that I can use, which is brilliant. But yeah, so I booted up the live ISO, and even in 4K, everything looks absolutely gorgeous. But obviously, the text is very, very minimal there. Anyway, so out of the box, you can see here you get this new feature, which I'm really loving, this Titan Toolbox. Now, it's inside this toolbox here, where you literally have everything that I normally do within a terminal. So that includes updating the system, enabling the firewall, downloading and installing some software, getting some support in terms of finding out what's going on with anything that's breaking on my machine. And this one here has a tweaks option as well, so we can see what that does there. But yeah, so we'll start off with the utilities, and it's here that I really, really enjoy using these applications in this toolbox here. So if you find that Plasma is starting to not play ball with you, if you can get into this menu, then literally come here to the Titan Toolbox under Utilities, and then you can restart Plasma. Literally resets everything in case if you're experiencing some instability there. You can also restart the network services, so if you're spotting that you're having some issues with your network card, for example, I haven't seen that in all this week I've been using, then obviously you can restart those network services. But these two applications here, I have been using an awful amount this week. So there is an option to clear your swap cache. So you can do that, or you can clear a partition. So it's very often, not very often actually, given the fact that it's the size of my hard disk, that the swap partition actually fills up, or the system wants to use a bit of swap space. Not seen that at all. But you know, the option is there. You clear your swap and you just enter in your password. You just say yes, do you want to clear and reset it, and just at the touch of a button it's cleared and done, and then you just close the window down. It's done. And now if we look at the system, so you get your standard system settings here within KDE. I've downloaded a few extras, but just to point out obviously that the NVIDIA settings here I had to download manually to actually get that to work there. But one of the things that I don't actually think I've used this in previous Debian editions, or maybe I've just missed it, but there's a package manager. Now normally I would use Synaptic, but this one here is I assume you pronounce it as Morn, I don't know, Muon, something along those lines anyway. But here in this package manager, it looks very similar to Synaptic. But the good thing about this is it links straight into the Debian repositories. So long as you've got your sources list up to date, and here you can actually look at well, the full list here. Everything's listed here by category. So for example, if I click into internet, you can see that everything here that obviously is related to the internet is all here. And obviously you can browse the list just by scrolling through. But take, for example, if I wanted to see if I can download the Falcon Browser, oh look, there it is. So it's a very lightweight web browser, and if I want to do that, I just literally right click and mark for installation. I can carry on then going through the list here. Okay, so under multimedia, if I just clear my search there, let's see if I can find Audacity. There's Audacity. So right click, mark for installation, and then it marks up straight away which obviously additional packages it requires. So you just OK that. And then literally you just carry on finding what you need. And once you've got that all ticked off and you're happy, oh, by the way, you can even update your kernels from here as well. So if I just clear that search again, there is some firmware updates. The Linux headers are all there. So the latest 5.16 kernel is in here as well. I'm not going to install that because it hasn't been properly tested and released yet on Debian platform. But it's there in the repositories if you need it. But yeah, but once you're happy, you've literally done that. You just click apply changes, enter in your password. It refreshes the repositories, and then off it goes. It unpacks and it downloads and installs those. So right now it's installing Audacity for me, and we'll just let that finish. There it goes. You see how quick that was? So I installed 2 packages. So I've got the Falcon Browser, and I have got now Audacity installed there. So let me just take a look now into the start menu, and we should see a multimedia section. Yep, so if we go into there, you can now see that we have got Audacity. And if I go into all applications and back to internet, I now have the Falcon web browser. And there we go. It's as easy as that to install a package. It's so easy. But you know, if you're not really a package manager of sorts, you can also go under where is it now? I believe it was under system. No, I'm looking in the wrong place here. But anyway, if you typed in software, oh yes, it's because it's KDE, isn't it? You can use Discover. Now, a lot of people are very familiar with Discover, aren't they? But Discover can be quite buggy for myself personally at times. Yeah, literally installing the software in here. I mean, look, I installed Kden Live, QTorrent. It's, you know, literally it's there. Let me see. So I want to see if the Cura 3D is in there. I believe so. Yep, there's Cura. So literally, I just click it, and I can get details about it, and then click install. Now, one of the things to point out, once you've enabled Snap and Flatpak, is that when you come into Discover and you obviously try to find your default applications as such, or the ones that you want to install, look out for these boxes here, and then look for icons which appear in the bottom right hand corner. Now I'm just going to go ahead and search for Spotify to see if that is in the list, and it is. Right, now I have got 2 variants of Spotify here, and if you have a look in the bottom right hand corner, you'll see that we've got a magnet, and I believe that looks like 3 blocks. So just to point out that if you install any application that's got this icon here in the bottom right hand corner, that means you're installing a Snap version of that application. And if you have this icon here, I'll click into that there. If you scroll down the list, you'll see here that the source itself is coming from Flatpak. So you're installing the Flatpak version of that application there. So that is really good, and I've not seen that in any other distribution that I've used. So I'm really, really pleased to see that here in my applications lists here. Okay, let's do that now. Why are you not closing? Is it stalled? Oh yes, it's not responding. Okay, the good thing is we can terminate that one just by clicking yes, and there it goes. Good. Now, again, if an application like that does stall on you, but you've still got some control over the system there, you can actually go into the Titan Toolbox, and if you go, I think it's is it Utilities? No, it wasn't Utilities. I did find it earlier on. No, not Support. I think it's under the APT. No, where are you? Security. It is there. Sorry, Benefit. There's a kill. There's like a kill. Where are you? I saw it. It's one of those moments where you see it as you're going through, and then as soon as you come to show somebody how to use it, you think, oh, where was it now? Oh man, I will find it. Anyway, there is an option within the toolbox to basically come along anyway, and then obviously you'll get your cursor changed to a specific icon, and then you can click into the window that you want to kill, and it will kill it. Might be, no, it's not Utilities. It is here somewhere. I could spend all day trying to find it, but trust me, as soon as I end the stream, it will be found. Okay, yeah, Colbert's saying it's the application Terminator. Okay, so let me see. It is actually called Terminator, isn't it? Oh yes. Thank you. I was looking for kill and a specific icon. So we was in the toolbox earlier on, wasn't we? And we was under utility. So here it is, application Terminator. So if I wanted to kill my terminal here, you click into Terminator. You see now that I've got this skull icon, and that means now take me to the window you want to kill. So I hover over, and if I just click into that window, bang, it's gone. Marvelous. So you can also do that from the command line as well, just by obviously typing in kill all, and then obviously the name of the application that you want to kill. That is cool. So games wise, I've downloaded Steam. Now, speaking of Steam, Steam is not really officially in the repositories from what I saw. However, I've been hearing news this week that Steam is available as a snap. So I went to investigate this, and it's not actually officially released yet. It is in beta phase. So if you want to install Steam as a snap, then you can do so. You should right now be able to find it in the Discover software options there. But obviously, if you know of the terminal commands, if I open it up now, you can simply, of course, just type in snap install Steam, type in your password. Obviously, I've got Steam already installed, but the actual command to install that Steam is snap install -- beta and then space Steam. So that's if you want to install the beta version of Steam. Now I've installed that today. I've logged in and I haven't yet played a game on it, but I will be trying that a little bit later on here with my new controller, which coincidentally, by the way, plugged it in, plug and play, works straight away. It's brilliant. I love that Xbox controller. Played Super Tux Kart on it a while ago, and whoa, it's nice. As soon as you bash into barriers and stuff, it starts to vibrate. It's fantastic. That's the kind of feeling I used to get when I used to play on my PlayStation now. So let's kill that off there. And then we'll just also take a look around in terms of graphics. I've installed the GIMP software there, so I can obviously edit and control over my photographs and the images that I'm producing there. But by default in this release you get LX Image, which is your image viewer, and obviously a facility to do screenshots as well, which coincidentally you can press print screen on your keyboard. And if I do that now, you'll see that you get the option for screenshot to load up, which is fantastic because I hate it when I press that button and it takes a shot of the whole screen before it brings the software up. Don't like it doing that. I prefer to see this screen come up and I say, right, I want to capture a particular area of the screen, click OK, and then I get my cursor change and I can just say, right, I only want the Titan horse there. Done. Fabulous. It's as simple as that. And then once it loads up into Image Viewer, I can go File and Save As, and then save it back as a file to the desktop, which I really do enjoy. So that's the screenshot tool, just with a press of the print screen button on your keyboard. Under the internet, so you saw me download the Falcon Browser there, so that's there. You get the Firefox ESR load up by default. So if I load up there, let's just see what current version we are on. We should be on version 91. See, not now for that. Not now. That must have updated while I was doing a sudo apt update a while ago. So if I go down to Help and About, we are currently on the, now remember what I was saying, 91.9.0. Do the math. What does that work out to be? Correct. Yes, that's why I'm saying. So they've actually managed to update this ESR release this week and actually make it coincide with version 100. Amazing, isn't it? But anyway, did you see how quick that was to load? So, one of my gripes about Ubuntu in the latest release is the Firefox browser is now a snap. And on first install, you open up Firefox and you're like, come on, load now, come on. It could be 20-25 seconds before Firefox has even opened up. Now that's only on first open. So when you then close the browser down and open it up again, it's kind of already cached in your system. It should load up quicker. But still, you could be waiting up to 10 seconds for that browser to open. Here, I have no problems at all. Click the button. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. Under 5 seconds. It's loaded. It might differ, of course, if you have older hardware and you are running on a mechanical hard drive. But here on my i5 system, which I'm testing this on, I've got no problems whatsoever. So that's Firefox there. So again, under Internet, you get the KDE Q torrent. Now, I forgot about this. I started to go ahead and start to download QBTorrent, which is what I used to, or QBitTorrent, which is what I normally use. But then I realized, hang on, there's already a torrent client already pre-installed with KDE, isn't there? So yeah, there I discovered QTorrent, and it's actually quicker and easier for me to use, so no worries there. Now, because I'm using this on my main production machine and accessing stuff for work, I've downloaded and installed Teams, Skype, and I've also downloaded Vivaldi. Now, there's a reason why I've downloaded Vivaldi, partly because it's Chromium based, and I don't particularly want to touch Chromium or Chrome on here. But yeah, Vivaldi on my machine, I've had no issues whatsoever. It's just so quick and so snappy. Others might disagree with me, but Vivaldi has been no problems at all with me here. And I've also downloaded their snapshot. Now, the reason for that snapshot there is because I do a lot of work in my work as part of my day job, where I test a lot of products inside various browsers. And one of those I use is Vivaldi, the latest version, but I also look at Vivaldi's like beta, which basically is the snapshot here. So it gives me a way to see that it will currently work in the next version of that browser. And the same also I do as well on my other desktops as well, where I'm testing in Chrome beta and also Edge beta as well, just to obviously make sure that our products and services are still working within future releases of those browsers there. So that's under Internet. Multimedia, of course, yeah, I've downloaded Kdenlive, OBS. Shortwave, I've got to say, now I downloaded Shortwave as a flat pack. Normally, I have issues downloading and installing this on Arch with all the distributions that I use there. But here in Debian, because, and particularly in Titan Linux, and because it's using the flat pack that I've already installed, I had no issues finding it in Discover. It found it and downloaded it and loving it. So version 3 of that software is now downloaded and installed, and I use that to listen to all of my internet radio services there, and have absolutely no problems with that. And that's less legacy for me. I've followed Shortwave projects since version 1, and never tire of using that. It's just such a great application. I've also downloaded Shortcut as well. Now I've not really used that because I mostly use Kdenlive to do a lot of my editing there. But if I need to just quickly do a quick edit on the fly, that I don't need to sort of put any fancy graphics or animations or voiceovers within, then generally I use Shortcut in other distributions that I use there. And yeah, so here I've downloaded that just so I've got it on standby. And of course, love my music. I downloaded Spotify, downloaded the swap version of that as you saw earlier on. And of course I've got VLC Player as well, which I've also installed primarily because of the codecs that I need to test my my products on. So these applications here, you'll probably find that multimedia will not be included as a option within your applications menu, but as soon as you install Spotify or OBS, then yeah, it will appear there. So Office, you can see here that I've got only Office and QPDF View. There was no Office applications, so it was a blank template basically. So you don't get your LibreOffice, you don't get your FreeOffice, you don't get your OnlyOffice. I had to manually go and download OnlyOffice from the Debian repositories, and again, no problems at all, installed straight away. And I'll be honest, I prefer using OnlyOffice primarily because it kind of gives that look and feel to Microsoft Office there, of course, with the Office 365 products. But I never get any issues when people send me documents, spreadsheets, or presentation files. I can load them up and it's fully compatible, fully supported. I can load it all up and it works absolutely perfect. No issues whatsoever. And that was a bit slow to load there because that's the first time that I've loaded up OnlyOffice from first install there. Cobert's saying that there's no torrent client by default. Not sure how that came down. It might have come down on probably the Debian backports, so it might be worth just checking out there because I certainly did not install KTorrent. That was there by default because I actually discovered it by accident by, as I say, going to download QBitTorrent, and it was there already in the repository list and it said it was installed, so I just went ahead with that default there. Siva in the chat's asking about Brave. I'm guessing you're saying, like, why haven't I tried or installed Brave? Good point. I normally do use Brave on some of my production laptops there. But to be perfectly honest, I mean, why would I use Brave? Primarily for privacy. But mostly of the websites that we visit and the products that we use, it's fully compatible with any of the browsers, and it's just me using this at the moment. So obviously I use Vivaldi as my primary browser at the moment. But I have used Brave in the past, and it is very, very easy to install on a Debian-based system like this. Again, you can go to brave.com, and there you can click and you get the terminal commands come up and how to install Brave there. No other questions in chat so far, which is good. Right, that's fantastic. So what else have we got here? So under the settings now, so as I said earlier on, the NVIDIA server settings were not there. I obviously had to manually download that. But one of the things that I have enabled is the app image launcher. So if you download the app image files from anywhere, the portable versions of applications, for example, you can download Audacity that you can take away with you, and it literally just copy that image file across from device to device, and the software still loads up there, of course. Grub Customizer, love this. Now, one good thing about this is once you've entered in your password, because it obviously has to access the partitions on your machine, is that you can configure how you want your system to boot. So, for example, here, I don't know if you can see this very well, but I've got options to go and actually install this system using the 5.16 kernel, which is currently what we're on right now. Now, we'll just point out by default that when you first install and load this Titan Linux, it uses the kernel 5.10 by default. You only get 5.16 coming through on a kernel update if you have enabled Debian backports and on a non-free. So that's how I managed to get my 5.16 to come through here. But I must say, for anybody tuning in and watching this now thinking, okay, older kernel, that's perfectly fine. Newer kernel, does it work for me? You can see quite how easy it is to install. And so far, I've been running this on my production machine now for well over a week, and I've not seen any issues whatsoever on the 5.16 kernel there. So touch wood, my PC down here is loving this at the moment. 5.16, by the way, on other machines that I've tested, I'm having a few issues with. So I had to update to 5.19 now, I think. And on one of the machines, I had to really backport it down to 5.10 to get anything to work. So it's a bit strange how an older kernel can make a bit of hardware work compared to a newer kernel. But I would have thought it would have been the complete opposite, to be perfectly honest. But anyway, so there's the kernel there. And that's it for settings. And then, of course, you've got your system where you can obviously look at HTOP. And you can see here, I'm running this machine at the moment. Incidentally, it's gone into swap. So it's using 2 gig of my swap at the moment. So I'll have to clear that out once I've finished this stream here today. Hi, Carsten. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. And if we look at the utilities now, obviously we've got the app image launcher settings. You've got your archiving tool, which is Arc. Emoji Selector. I've not really used this, but this is part of obviously KDE, I assume, no doubt. Look at the beautiful emojis that you can use. So you can use this bit of software, have it open, and literally you can just say, oh, I like that emoji, copy it, and then you can paste it into your favorite chat app. It's fantastic. You don't even have to know the commands there. Absolutely love it. What else we got? So disk usage statistics, file light. Now I've not used this, but it's good to see that you can see a bit of a breakdown of what your disks are up to here. So you can see it in graphical form that, I'm using it on a 240 gigabyte hard disk here, of which it's only used up 52 gigs so far. Incidentally, just pointing out, I have not downloaded any music. I have not downloaded any videos. I'm doing everything as is at the moment in a browser, and I'm doing stuff in the cloud. So I haven't got any files stored locally within my home directory that I need to worry about. So then you can see it's just doing a rescan. Love this tool. On first glance, that is. Yeah, there we go. And you can see a bit of a breakdown of what your hard disk is up to there. Great, isn't it? And you can save it back as an SVG file as well. So, for example, if you wanted to take a grab of this and put it in a presentation, you can do that there. So that's the menu within the Titan here. So I would just also like to point out now that one of the things that I do miss from clicking here is the option to shut down my system. I am forever going, okay, I'm done for the day. Menu. Oh, of course, you can't shut it down from here. So just to point out that if you want to shut down your system, and I like it in a way because it's more of a security point side of things, is that the shutdown is here in the bottom right hand corner. So take, for example, I click it. I'm not shutting down my system, but now I get the option to sleep, hibernate, restart, shut down, or log out. So by default, it will set that to shut down there. And here we have the panel. So obviously, as I said earlier on, I am running a 4K monitor. So the panel loaded at a resolution, I think, of 32 pixels in height. So I went in and edited that, and I increased that to 60 to make it more viewable for me. So that's why I like now the look and feel of this Titan. It's fantastic. So here we have Titan Linux. I'm saying this has got to be one of the fastest Debian distributions that I have tried yet, period. Would I recommend this distribution? Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. So we're currently on version 1.1, just to point out there. And I'm currently also in touch with the guys who are here in the chat right now. And I'm helping them obviously test this release. And I have obviously reported a few bugs here or there this week, which they have been quick to fix. And you'll see those updates coming in a future release there. But one thing to point out is that you cannot get this release on DistroWatch. So if you try to search for it on DistroWatch, you won't find it there at the moment. Partly because obviously there are reasons behind that. But no doubt, the more and more people download this, the more and more people visit the Titan website, for example, and download this and recommend it, the DistroWatch team will pick that up and start listing it on their website there. You might even see it in one of their future newsletters. Who knows? But anyway, keep going, guys. You're doing fantastic work with this. I see absolutely no issues whatsoever here with Titan Linux. Absolutely love it. So well done, guys. And I'm glad that I'm able to be part of your team there and help test this out for you. Happy for that. So Titan Linux, it runs on Debian 11 on Bullseye, and would recommend it definitely. 100% wholeheartedly there. Right, so let's move on to our next news of this week, and it is the release of the Ubuntu Unity. So let me just come back to the FOSS Torrents website here. I saw that it was there. Apologies, I was on a different screen a bit earlier on today. Let me just bring that back again. There we go. Unity. Yes, of course. Yeah. So Unity is, well, for us, a legacy users of Linux that remember using Ubuntu back in the early days. They used Unity as its desktop environment as opposed to GNOME as they do now. So a lot of people out there still like to use Unity. Now, but they also like to use Ubuntu. So how can the two come side by side and come as one there? So Ubuntu Unity is a distribution which basically now is a newer version of Unity, which is now Unity 7, which has been released this week. So here in Ubuntu Unity, it uses obviously the Unity desktop. Primarily now it's been updated because it's obviously now got the Ubuntu 22.0 for LTS release in there. So you'll be pleased to know that if you download and install this one, you're completely supported under the LTS branch for another 5 or 6 years on that one there. If you're sticking with version 16.4, there's obviously a way to be able to upgrade peacefully if you wanted to. But there's also Unity 7 goodies in there as well, and it has obviously been modernized for Unity 7, and they've ported the Yarrow, which is what they used to use, over to Unity 7, so you'll get a nice new look and feel with this Unity version. You still got the option if you wanted to go with 20.04, but I would recommend that if you are wanting to download and use this one, go with a 22.04 release. You'll see a lot more usable features in there, and obviously a lot more stable. So Ubuntu Unity is out now. Go to ubuntuunity.org and click the download button, and you'll see here you've got the option to download the latest on 22.04, and obviously you've got the previous old stable releases as well, and obviously the older 20.04 release there as well. So you might find that if you install 22.04 on older hardware, you might find some stability issues. That being the case, just go and download 20.04, and obviously you'll be running with the older version of the Unity desktop there. So moving next on to Linux Lite. Now they have this week announced that they've got their release candidate 1 out now available for testing. And I've been giving this a bit of a trial. I've installed it in a VM, so I'll show you that in just a moment. Now, Linux Lite to me is normally my go-to distribution, particularly on a USB stick. If you just want to quickly fire up a Linux distribution and do do something that requires Linux to do. It's quick, it's easy, so simple to use, and can be used on 32-bit machines as well. But obviously, just to point out, I say 32-bit, it's the older releases of Linux Lite really that will be supported by 32-bit. But here in version 6, which is now available as a release candidate, you can actually use that now and obviously use it on a 64-bit machine. But lower end specs in terms of processor, RAM, and obviously your graphics there as well. So what have we got here in the new release? So we've got a brand new theme. It's called Materia, And here you can see, keeping its familiar appearance, Materia is regularly maintained and now supports GTK4, the GNOME Shell, Budgie, Cinnamon, Mate, Unity. So if you wanted to use Linux Lite, you get XFCE by default, but you can, if you wanted to, change the desktop to be Cinnamon, Mate, Unity, whatever you choose. It still is supported there. It's got assistive technology, so you can do an on-screen keyboard, and obviously you've got an inbuilt screen reader and screen magnifier. That is great to see in Linux distributions today. But look at this keyboard, this onboard keyboard. Can you see this? No, it actually looks like a proper typable keyboard. Look at that. Love it. Those mechanical keys. You can almost hear the bashing now, can't you? But I wonder if it does make a kind of, bashing of the key sound when you're doing it. That'd be a bit silly, wouldn't it? But yeah, that's absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? Then, of course, you've got the XFCE settings and more here. Yeah, so it's all pretty simple. It's got a screen magnifier now. You can just do a left press of your Alt button there, and you can use the scroll wheel to go in and out, back and forth, and then you'll be zooming in and zooming out. So I'll see if that works in our virtual machine in just a few moments. The default web browser here in Linux Lite is Google Chrome. What do people generally do when they want to install a browser? They go to Chrome, don't they? Yeah, so the good thing is that if you are using Linux Lite here, then you get Google Chrome as your default browser. But you can go into the software list and pick another one if you so wish to do so. So memtest apparently says here now no longer appears in the Grub menu. So with so many obviously now bootable tech tools out there, there's no need to do a memtest with inside the distribution on first startup. So they've removed that there from their Grub screen. Totally unnecessary, and only, as I rightly point out here, only 5% of users ever used it. How they found out that figure, I don't know, but there you go. But you got this great Grub screen here, version 2.06, where you can obviously boot into the distribution or go for some form of compatibility mode or shut down and restart the machine. LibreOffice has been updated to version 7.2.6. Incidentally, the latest version, 7.3.2, is out there. You can upgrade to that one if you so wish to do so. But by default, they're giving you 7.2.6, which is the stable Debian version there on this latest candidate. But, I mean, look at this start menu. This is fantastic. I mean, Linux Lite never disappoints me. Never disappoints me. The wallpapers are great, and we'll see that in a second. The tools which you've got with inside that distribution is great. It never disappoints. And they've made some changes as well, where they've fixed some issues around the bash RC file. Close confirmation of new feature in Thunar. Okay, yeah, I've not noticed that myself, but I'm sure there's a reason why they've done that. The close confirmation has got a new feature as well with inside the terminal. And we got a new Whisker menu. Okay, so what's new within this Whisker menu? Well, we should go and find out, shall we? So that's what they're saying in their release announcement this week. So shall we go and take a look quickly? So let's load up now my virtual box here. And I'm using QEMU, incidentally Vert Manager. Now, if like me, you are a great user of virtual machines, you'll be pleased to know that Titan Linux will support both VirtualBox and Vert Manager. And again, if you want to install those one, look out for a future release. You can install those one at one click of a button, and that'll be absolutely great there. So I'm just going to full screen this in the hope that you can see this. Let's see this. Here we go. There we go. So we're currently it's 4:3, but I will get that sorted out once we get booted into there. So I've already installed Linux Lite, so I won't talk you through the Calamares installer and what's involved, etc. It's so dead simple. You've installed so many Linux distributions by now, you know what they look like. And even for people joining me here for the first time today, wondering how to install Linux distribution, don't worry about it. Linux Lite, their installation process is just spot on. It will ask you all the right questions about your partitions, your your name, your passwords, everything. Yeah, once you've installed it, no issues whatsoever. So I've already installed it, and I'll enter in my password here. Incidentally, this is not the default wallpaper. You can see now that we are loading up a fresh desktop here. Once it's all loaded up, I will get the resolution sorted out. Yeah, there we go. So it's automatically refreshed. So this now is inside a virtual machine using 1920 by 1080 as a default resolution. So here is the welcome screen. So here you can straight away go to install Linux Lite. I don't have the option to do that because I've already pre-installed it, but there is a button on the desktop which allows you to do that. And also you've got an option here within the welcome messages to install it from there also. So as always with any new installation of Linux Lite, I go to install the updates. That then comes here and install updates. And here I enter in my password. And what that would do now is it will go off and it will check if I enter in the right password. There we go. It will check for any updates within the repositories. And it says I'm up to date, which is fantastic. Scrolling down, you can also install drivers as well. So you've heard me spoke about NVIDIA. I would highly recommend that you follow this process, go to install drivers, but do be online as you do it. Make sure that you do have an internet connection, wired or Wi-Fi. Incidentally, I'm on wired, but if you are Wi-Fi, down here in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see the icon and you click on it and then you can see all of your Wi-Fi networks and obviously you can install your Wi-Fi from there. Setting a restore point, I would advise doing that. I've already done so, but what that does is basically it loads up a time shift and then puts a snapshot on your machine basically of where your last restore point was. And you can, if you wanted to, install language support. And just to point out, as always with Linux Lite, it is fully UEFI and secure boot compatible there. So it talks here about how you can make sure that your BIOS mode is set to UV and how you go about that one. You got option here to turn the lights on or off. So in terms of light and dark theme, we're currently on light, but if I switch to dark mode, there you go, dark theme now applied. We're now in dark mode. And then of course you've got here your keyboard shortcuts. Now it's saying that there is an upgrade available, but I'm currently on version 6 of the release candidate there. I can click it and see what happens, but it says I'm already running the latest release, which I am. But if I was on version 5, no doubt then, as soon as version 6 comes along, then you'll got the option there to install an upgrade to version 6 straight away. And then it's here, the Lite software, where you can get the option to go into the software, which I'm going to call the Software Center. Must remember to put the right password in for that one. Would you like to update the sources list? I'll do that now. Okay, so I want to install some software. So let's see what we've got in terms of a browser. I mean, look at this list. It's this is basically as many applications as you could possibly need to get you up and running on Linux and use these as your daily driver. So in terms of browsers, let's go to Task Selector and I'll install that again. I should be able to see what I've got here. So what other browsers are there? Do you see another browser? No, I don't. Okay. Alright, but there's nothing stopping you installing Brave from brave.com if you wanted to. But some of the daily tasks here, so for example, I've got the Telegram desktop here. I can just select that and click install. Do you want to proceed? Yes. That will go ahead and install that. I mean, it is so simple, so easy. Now, Linux Lite is not a distribution that I hear many recommending when they say they want to go to, check out Linux, for example, what's the first thing people recommend? What's Ubuntu? Linux Lite is based on Ubuntu. I'm just going to quit that out now. And here in this release, if I look at the kernel that they're on, so they're currently running on kernel 5.15. So it's a fairly good one. So they must be on an LTS release here. So, yeah, let's just see that. Let's see if I can get the LSB release up here. Oops, dash A. Yeah, there we go. So we're running on the latest 22.04 Jammy Jellyfish, which is great to know. So that's the reason why the kernel is now on 5.15. So you're fully up to date. You're fully supported here. I'll tell you what, there is absolutely no doubt in Linux Lite, and it's been about a couple of years now since I last recommended Linux Lite, when they've done the switch to version 5. So thinking about it, it was when they did the last LTS release that I last recommended that. So here we are now with Ubuntu's LTS release recently. That we're now on version 6 here, which is getting ready to be released as a full release there. Yeah, so in terms of terminal use, so let me see. I was going to install, in fact, Firefox is probably not on here, is it? No, it's not. Okay, so Chrome is there. But say, for example, I did want to install Firefox. Let's say sudo apt install, and then we do Firefox. Oops, I might have typed that wrong now. Yes, I did. There we go. And it's loading it from Snap. I saw it go. Yeah, I saw it go. Updating Snapd. Let's see what happens once that installs. So Linux Lite is definitely looking at the Ubuntu repositories here from the looks of things. Yep, installing Firefox Snap. So we'll check that out in a sec. Not sure why this is taking a while. It's doing an update here as well as installing Firefox from the looks of things. Not normally this slow, so this is the first Snap install I have done. So when I come next to install another application, it'll be a lot quicker than this. A lot quicker. That's why we're currently stalled at 56%. I'll just move the mouse cursor to make sure that we haven't stalled the VM. Yep, it's all fine. At some point that will get moving. But let's take a quick look around Linux Lite while this is installing this. So if I go into System, where are we? No, I'm looking for Appearance. Or is it Settings? Settings has got Appearance. Yep, so there's the theming. I was looking at the desktop wallpapers, that's right. So if I just come to the desktop and right click, oh, okay, Firefox is now installed. If I go to the desktop, right click and go into desktop settings, I should here be able to, yep, here we go. Look at the variety of new wallpapers that this version brings. I mean, I always love the wallpapers the Linux Lite team use. Speaking of love, there we go. Absolutely fine. Okay, so Firefox is installed now. So let's just see if I go now into Menu, Internet, where are you, Firefox? Of course, yes, it's a Snap. So Snap needs to be refreshed. So I need to be able to log out. If I click this button here and I do log out, we'll wait for the VM to restart. And then I log back in. You see now it's brought in my new wallpaper. And there we go. So the welcome screen loads up every time you log into the machine, but you can obviously turn this off by unchecking this box here. This welcome screen is very useful. You can access the forums and the help manual from here as well. I've just unchecked that and told that to close down. Right, so now if I go into Internet, there we have our Firefox. Now incidentally, because it's XFCE, they're showing the category and not the name of the application here as well. So to change that, if I come to the panel, and if I just hover over where it says menu and I click that, right click that and go into properties, I can change that to show the generic application names, but uncheck show category names. Or is it there? I think it is that one, isn't it? Yeah, do that again. I believe the application. Yeah, there it is. Yep. So I've turned the description off. Show generic application names. There we go. Got it. So you would think having show generic application names checked that it actually would show Firefox, but obviously it likes to use generic names such as web browser, email client, etc. Things like that. So there we go. But anyway, under that now we are done. So I'm going to close that. And if I go back into Internet and load up Firefox, we should now see in Firefox that we are running. Now see how long it's taking? Remember what I was saying earlier on about the snap? Look at that. I mean, this is inside a virtual machine. That was a good 22 seconds. Now, if I go into Help and About, yep, there we go. Running version 100, and there it is. Mozilla Firefox Snap for Ubuntu. So it's not even the latest. It's a Snap version. Seriously. So I don't even know, just checking this, that if I uninstalled the Snap, so Snap remove Firefox. Let's see if this works. Oops, wrong password. That should work now. There we go. Right, so it's removing Firefox Snap. I mean, you saw me do it. I did sudo apt install Firefox, and it went off to the Snap store to get it. So let's see now if this option works for me, where it uninstalls the Snap and then it reinstalls the proper version of Firefox. Wayland, yeah. I mean, again, I've got no quibbles, nothing bad to say about Linux Lite. Always my go-to distribution for a quick one to load up on a USB stick. So under Internet now we can see that we've lost Firefox. So now let me just do sudo apt install Firefox again. It says Firefox is already installed. But where do I get access to it? So it might be because I need to log out and log in again. Firefox is there, but it requires Firefox Snap to be installed. Snap install Firefox. Yeah, of course, that's now me going back on myself. Alright, okay. Some distributions that works where you uninstall the Snap version and then just reinstall the full version. As I say, I haven't rebooted the machine, so it could be that I just need to reboot and then we'll get that up and running then. But see what I mean? It's just so simple, so easy to use. Linux Lite is just such a great distribution. And I don't really need to go through much here. I mean, you don't get an Office app, you don't get any Office applications. But you've got plenty to get you going up and running here. If you, oh, sorry, no, turn up, no. Of course you do get Office. You get version 7.2 of LibreOffice. Yes, I forgot I mentioned that a bit earlier on. It's just the icon's not very well apparent that you've got Office installed in there. There you go. So in terms of installing software here in Linux Lite, we should be able to do that under settings, I think. Software and updates. I don't think that's the software manager. No, that's not. That's where it checks the hardware. Okay. Oh, you got install remove software. Well, there's Lite software. Okay, there's a tool here called Lite software. Again, enter in the password. Would you like to update resources? I'll just minimize that. Yeah, so it's the same tool. Install software. Okay. Yeah. So if you want to install more than one, I think it's saying that you can press down the control key. So if I want to install Etcher, press down control and click it, Etcher. Keeping my control key on my keyboard pressed down, I'm going to install OBS, and I'm going to install Simple Screen Recorder. Then I do install. Yep, so there we go. It will install those 3 applications. Great, isn't it? So let me see if there's any kind of package manager on here. Let me just quit that out. No, there isn't. Okay. So in terms of installing other software, I would recommend downloading Synaptic as well. So again, it's as simple as easy. Sudo apt install Synaptic, Synaptic. Synaptic is already installed. Okay, so where was it on my list? Run program. Okay, so Synaptic must be behind the tool to add remove software there. Synaptic. Ah, there we go. It's hiding, but it's there. So like you saw me do earlier on with the Titan package manager, again, you can search for any package within here. So if I did want to search for Chromium, for example, where are you? Chromium browser, there we go. Again, check the box, mark for installation, and you can carry on going through the list and it will install it there. Apply. Packages to be installed, the Chromium browser. Apply. Is that done? No, it's still doing. You can click the details button here and you'll see what it's doing inside a terminal. So it's installing the Chromium Snap. So if you hate snaps, I would say this distribution is not for you. There we go. Chromium is now installed. So if I close down the package manager and that terminal, I should see in my internet Chromium. There we go. Fully loaded. There you go. So that's Linux Lite release candidate 1 on version 6 of their forthcoming release there. You can go ahead and download it now from the Linux Lite website. There'll be a link in the description below. So thank you very much for the pleasure of your company here today as we looked at Titan Linux, Ubuntu Unity, and Linux Lite's release candidate for version 6. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments there, and we'll obviously pass them on to the developers or get them answered as soon as we can within the the comments here. Follow the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe if possible. That helps me out a great deal. Look out for future videos coming from me. Obviously this is a live stream here today, but there will be videos coming soon of more demonstrations, and probably more on Titan Linux as well there, because absolutely loving that distribution, and yeah, and more things I find and love inside that distribution, I will share the knowledge with you out there. So thanks very much for joining us here today. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe this channel here. And in the meantime, have yourselves a brilliant day, what's left of it, and I will catch you again in a future video there. So in the meantime, take care now. Bye bye.